the one thing that can really inhibit that or stop that is actually getting sick. And for me, my lung and the lung infections I've had in the past have been absolutely disastrous. In 2004, obviously an Olympic year with the Athens Olympics coming up, didn't want to miss a training session, got a bit sick, continued to train, ended up getting pneumonia, spent 5 days in hospital, got through the Olympic trials, but between the Olympic trials and the actual games from March to August, I went through 15 courses straight of antibiotics. So every day seeing the physio, getting my lungs expressed to bring up all the mucus, which sounds like quite gross, but it was just the reality I was dealing with from a day-to-day point of view. So, and recently when I got sick, when I started engaging with you guys at first, and I sort of mentioned, look, I got a bit of a chest infection, and you said, hey, come down and try and use this device to help get the stuff off your chest, and it should see the duration of the infection actually shrink. And I did that, and I couldn't believe it. I absolutely loved it. I bragged about it with to everyone who wanted to listen, because I just couldn't believe it. Every few hours I was actually using the machine. I couldn't believe how I could bring stuff up rather than just coughing and trying to get that stuff off your chest. This device was absolutely amazing. And literally a few days later I noticed how much better I was getting. And those sorts of infections, for me, I have to go see a chest specialist. Sometimes I have to get on catabolic steroids to get rid of it, and it just shrunk the whole process for me. And yeah, it's a device that really excites me, and I'm sure for anybody that will have a significant impact. As soon as you get a chest infection, get onto that, because it's just going to help get that stuff out. And it feels like it just gets so deep, deep in the lungs and the capillaries, just to get everything out of there. If you're going to be traveling on long haul flights, if you're going from Australia to Europe or over to the US or something like that, certainly having a device like this, when a lot of athletes are always sitting on that knife's edge because they're pushing their bodies so much, and tend to get an infection. If you've got something like this, it's just going to help, I guess, mitigate that process or from something happening. And it actually gives you an indication of how bad your chest is too, because a lot of the time you can start developing an infection but not realizing just what's going on underneath the surface. So I think around travel, particularly long haul flights, if you've got a device that can actually help you get rid of that stuff. We all know when we get off the plane how bad our sinuses can be for a day or two afterwards. And my sinuses would get so bad that there's so much pressure, I'd actually get a blood nose even 2 or 3 days after a long haul flight pretty much every year in my 20s when I was traveling overseas for swimming, because I would always just get infections and mucus. So to have something like this to help mitigate that process and minimize the impact of all the travel is a great device.